a look at the Hugel beds today. See the progress. First of all, we have the carrot bed. And there's so many little carrots and slightly more mature carrots coming up. And some of the first ones I'm leaving to go to seed. This next bed, I've got net on. I've done this with my cauliflower and my cabbage. And I'll show you how they're progressing. So some of these were actually started off in the rabbit cage and a few sown directly into this Hugel bed. So that's why we've got two different stages going on. The better ones are the ones sown in tiny pots in the rabbit cage. Obviously a smaller area, watered in the little pots, does better than a larger area. You have to just mature. So this is the best I've done with these from scratch, apart from in my raised bed last year. So moving on to my mixed bed. This is where I picked my very first zucchini of the year, which is the round zucchinis. As you can see, I've got more coming on that same plant. That was the first plant where I got them from, and we have another one has appeared, and it's got random watermelons, sweet melons, yellow honeydew melons, and some peppers, squash that were cut back from last year, and they've regrown. So these are doing well. These regrown from last year. 3. There's peppers on there. Really good size already. Nearly ready to pick. As I say, we have some other random squashes just all starting to come up with the melons and watermelons. So it's quite a big bed. I'm thinking about slightly reducing this next year. This was the first Hugel bed I ever made, so it needs a bit more attention anyway. So thinking about reducing this a little bit and raising it more, build it back up. So on to the next bed. Produce coming already here. You know where you're going, my little one. You will end up in my chopper. And I have been hand pollinating any flower of any plant this year. I want to guarantee every single plant becomes produce. And I have done a video how you know male and females of plants. I'll link that below. And I've just laid this down with the stone over the top, so that reseeds itself and brings some pollinators next year. This was one of the 2 broccoli beds that I left to go to seed. I've taken all the seed pods off now, and I've just cut back any of the broccoli plants that were still a bit okay. I've dropped some of the heads just on the top for now. I will be adding more layers prior to planting more broccoli seeds in this area, so these ones will be covered and hopefully materialise. But yes, these have chopped back, the better ones, because they're still green, and they will regrow also next year. And again, it will be topped up. And then you saw me pick one of the 2 leeks that were supposed to be onions. This one I left to go to seed. So I've just left this on here. And I picked the other one, which was very nice. These are very big, so I wanted to save some seeds. And on to the next bed. So I've got some flower heads there. Seem to have some little buds coming. And we've got little mini pumpkins coming. Aren't they cute? They're my first pumpkins, apart from one big one I grew before. These are like what I call proper pumpkins. Oh look, these are really sweet. They look darling. And look at the little baby ones. Look, the size of my finger. Oh, little baby froggy sized ones. There's quite a lot of littles coming all over the place. So I'll give it a few more days and then I will pollinate any more flower heads. This, by the way, is the shell of a cicada, and when the cicadas come up from the ground they become attached to anything, literally. You'll find these shells everywhere, and I don't know if you can see there's a split just above my thumbnail where they burst out and become the cicadas you know up in the trees. You'll find these everywhere this time of year. So I will link About Cicadas, my filming of them and how they make their noise, which I've got footage of, catching them do it. This bed was all cabbage and lettuce, recently sown. One lettuce came up. It was actually bigger than that. I've been pulling the outer leaves off to eat. But not much else is coming on. There are some greeny bits coming, but they could be the weird things that grow from the imported bits I use. And these seem to come in with manure and any outside stuff. This was my wonderful lettuce bed. This did so well. I've left everything now to go to seed here. Mostly it's the rosa lettuce that's gone to seed. And we've got a few of these. These were the best lettuce for us this year. Might really like these ones. So I've got a few outer heads of those. I have reseeded in all the gaps. But it's really hot here now. We find lettuce doesn't grow very well here once it starts to get ridiculously hot. So we'll see if any come up. Oh, there's a bit of green extra coming up on that one that's finished. But this was an amazing bed. This was great for lettuce this year. Best lettuce we've ever had. And here is my aubergines or eggplants. These were all grown indoors in my indoor garden, because I found this year to start them really early indoors really was successful. Look how great they are. And I need to come and pollinate these. They're all mixture now. I've just mixed them all up. Some wonderful heads. I can tell which this one is because this one's prickly. And I mentioned in one of my other videos which were the prickly ones and which weren't. So yeah, there's some heads there. These are all going to start producing. Because again, I've hand pollinated all flowers that I've seen. Oh, here's a lovely one down here. Just have to be very careful with them not to knock them off. They're very delicate. And I just get a paintbrush and go round everything. Takes some time. And then here is a second bed of the aubergines or eggplants. And as you can see, I've got one of these has popped up again that I had last year in another bed. And there's several of them this year. And you can eat the blackberries as long as they're black, and I will link a video about those as well. But this bed initially was for these, which there's only one of. But that one's thriving. As I say, you only need one of a plant with produce, and then you've got seeds for next year to try. Finally sorted out my KOHL RABI bed. I do want to hoop this net, make hoops over it to raise the net. I've actually doubled the net, so anyone who's worried about getting holes in their netting, just double it over. So lots of KOHL RABI, doing well here. These are a mixture of white and the red or purple, whatever you want to call them. And I did a taste test on the difference of the red and the white last year. So again, I will try and remember to link that underneath. Always check my descriptions, because anything I talk about in video, I try to put the links. So they're doing well. This is my best KOHL RABI area this year. Always try to grow things in different ways in different areas and make your own comparisons. So I hope you can see those. So I don't really want to take the net off, and this net you could just water straight through. And then this was my weird bed. It was supposed to be my Malabar spinach, but I'm pretty sure this for some reason is chard. But amongst the chard I have some other plants. Whether it's more KOHL RABI or broccoli, we will know. It's actually a bit fanny, could be more KOHL RABI. I don't know how it all gets in different places. And there's also amongst this something else. Oh, now I'm thinking this could be a Malabar spinach. This is what it should be, because it's got like the reddy stems. Oh, that would be handy, and look, it's protected by the chard, because all I have got in here was this one, this bit that I rescued, which I said was my last surviving bit, because it had got eaten once it was out here. I think ants attacked it, and a little tiny dead stick. And yes, this seems to be thriving. This is why I've put the cover on these now. Ooh, well that's progress. And then we have one of the 3 tomato beds down here. And if you haven't seen how I do all this stringing and how it works for me, my Project Tomato video, again I'll link that underneath this video. This is the tallest one. I'll probably now start pinching the top out of that. That's pretty cool. Doing very well. Lots of tomatoes and lots of flowers. There were lots of tomatoes. There's still some orangey ones down there, but we've been picking and eating them. So, oh, there's some red ones ready in the middle there. I'll have to pick those later for today. So, yeah, you'll have tomatoes all year here, as long as you don't plant them all at the very beginning of the season. Leave a few for, I think the latest I seed them is February here. And then, oh, peppers are turning colour. You need to get bigger, guys. So we've got lots of peppers happening here. It shows you don't need much soil at all to grow anything, as long as it's rock or stone free and good quality. All my earth or soil here is homemade, so it's all Hugel, and as you can see it all needs rebuilding up next year. So on to the other netted bed. Just take that off. These have been planted out more recently. And I did put spring onions round the edge of these 2 netted beds. Obviously they're not going to show yet, if at all. So these are coming along slowly. Not the best yet. Let's see how they go. They're very slow growing. And then another tomato area. Again, I've been picking the tomatoes off these for some time now. We had a whole tea, a whole salad just from the garden of different areas of different things I grow. So do check out all my different videos, because I don't do everything in one video. So I've got raised beds, fruit forest and many other areas. So this is a different variety. Again, with my tomatoes, I just mix them up once I plant them out. And then when you come pick into one area, you get different varieties and at different levels of growth. So there's always something to pick. This was my beetroot that I said to you, this will be the last ones growing here. I'm going to do them in a different area. We're actually going to be building even more raised beds in another area. So I think root vegetables would prefer that. Because as you can see, this was, I think, a Ruth Stout bed. And once that deteriorates, there's not much space to go down. And then this is a radish bed that I said to you again, this will be my last time probably growing radish up this end. Because it's doing very good in another area. But it's still coming through. Always keep planting a few seeds every few weeks and you will have continual radish. I've picked so many, and as I always say, keep at least a third of however many crops you do to go to seed, and you shouldn't have to buy seeds again. Always collect more seeds than you need, because if a crop goes wrong for some reason one year, you will still have reserve seeds. And another pepper bed. I do have quite a few Hugel beds. I'll add, I think, as well, if I remember, a video how to make Hugel beds. As I say, these aren't at their best now because I haven't piled up the Hugels. So many other jobs this year that there were only a few beds that I redid. So yep, these are coming along. My plan next year is to do a pepper farm, so where I go crazy with tomatoes. I did quite a lot of peppers this year, but I'm going to make a whole pepper farm. So these weren't so good. These were my old squash seeds that I wasn't sure if they would even grow, but they're all flowering. So let's see if they produce anything. It looks like there's a few random peppers. Not very narrow, almost like jalapenos. But I only had one pack of jalapeno seeds someone sent me. So if they randomly got in there, there's quite a few of them. They might just be normal peppers. They just seem a little over pointy. Like it's another variety, which is what I'm thinking maybe jalapeno. There's some more here. Let's see, let them come up, see what happens. And this was my crazy area. I think last year, the trombello, the really long squash, really long, and these just trail everywhere. I just love seeing them trail. These are the ones that grow like really long and curl up a little bit. So there's those. These are doing best this year in my raised bed, actually. I'll show you those in the video on raised bed. One's gone really long. And this was my first ever tomato area. So again, I take it in order of picking them. So you'll see this one, it's got more reds left on it because I'll pick from one area. And then the next time I pick, I'll pick from the next area and so forth. So that way it actually leaves more to mature in the last beds. So a lot going on with the tomatoes. You can never have too many tomatoes. As you know, I make sauces mostly and salads. Another radish area. Again, this is to go to seed. And these grow long and then they have pods on. You can eat the seeds of the radish, so once these grow into brown dried pods, you can actually pop the seeds out and eat them. You don't get many seeds on radish, so I don't think you're going to get hundreds of seeds like everything else. You don't get very many. So this is the lonesome onion left, leaving that one to grow to seed. And that was because it's a broccoli bed, and I've cleared this one out. And as I say, the best ones I've just actually snipped right back, chopped cleanly, and then that will flower and grow next year. And I will reseed that with my broccoli seeds. Always grow onions with broccoli, any brassicas, and with carrots. Or garlic the same. Garlic has the same effect. You want something strong smelling, and then you don't get the caterpillar moth or caterpillar butterfly. And we have this bed. This is quite new, popped up, this little one. As I say, pollinate. We've got ants that are pollinating. These are the males with the straight stem, and the females have little knobbly, openy looking bits. As I say, I've got a video below. That's salsify. I've got lots of that in the garden. This has now gone to seed. I'm going to let it all blow everywhere. It spreads around the garden. I will be doing a video on that. And the last thing, I still keep this tub over the root, just to keep the root really moist, of this Queensland blue pumpkin. It's the only one that came up, so I need to protect that and definitely make sure I pollinate that. And here's the grass cuttings. We've got other areas of compost, but this is for this area, and this is mostly what I will use to redo all those Hugel beds that you've just seen. We don't put anything else on this area because it's the far end one side of my garden, so it's literally only any good weeds and any grass that turns into hay or straw, and that's all that I have down this end. Our actual compost area is nearer the house. So I hope you enjoyed that little update there. It's coming along. And as I say, do look in the description below, because there's always associated videos to whatever I'm showing you or what I talk about within my videos. So until next time, Meraki.